Hello, my MGTOW brothers. Back again for another one. And this one, MGTOWs can take a break because this one goes out to Felicia. Now, Felicia and I have had a running thread back and forth on a video that I did a minute back. And it was a response video to Stardust. And while, the article that we were reading, it was basically a feminist article written by a feminist complaining about what her issues with the workplace and the feminist model that she was working under. I expected, some comments and backlash from MGTOWs, which I did get, but it was relatively small. But the last thing I expected was a feminist to actually come in and complain about what I was saying, which she really didn't address what I was saying in the article or in the video. So now this is a video that I promised her because I got tired of going back and forth in a comment section. I hate going back and forth in the comment section doing a debate, especially when the comments get so long that they're like 2 or 3 pages long when you print them out. And I especially hate replying in the comment section when it has nothing to do with the video that I posted. I reply in a comment section to basically clarify what's in the video. I don't go anybody else's video and complain in a comment section about something else that's not contained in the video. And it's especially daunting to me when I'm giving comment and highlighting the text on the screen. Now, you can read it for yourself and see exactly what I'm doing, what I'm commenting on, and you can actually read along and you can agree or disagree. But enough of my opening rant. I'm going to delve into what me and Felicia were debating about and hopefully settle some of this. And for other people that have agreements or disagreements about how I highlighted the text or what I was talking about, hopefully this will be some clarification. So I'm going to stop my rant and we're going to get into what me and Felicia were actually talking about, get into our debate. The first thing that we're going to get to about what Felicia said about my video is about the title. Now, the title came from it being a response video to a video that Stardust or Thinking Ape made called Feminism, an Inferiority Complex. Now, Felicia says I put the wrong title on the video. It should have been something else. She says, because I don't know what feminism is about. I don't know the history of feminism, so the title should have been changed. Now, I don't know if Felicia was in class that day, but most people on YouTube know that when you're doing a response to a video, that particular video takes on the name of the video that you're responding to, which should have been self-evident. And also in the video, in the intro to the video, I say this is a response video to that particular video, and I put the link of the video into the low bar so that people would have a chance to go back and see exactly what Stardust said in the video and know where my arguments are coming from. So when I read that particular line, I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? But I digress. The next part she had a disagreement with when I mentioned giving keys to MGTOWs. And I made a reference to what my teacher had told us back when I was in my spiritual classes, that a book is a door, and to unlock the door, you need a key. In other words, to unlock the full wisdom or information in a particular book or in a particular text, you have to have keys that you got to bring to it. And I had mentioned in my other videos and my other work, I had issued a lot of keys so that they or Stardust could unlock this particular article and get the real meaning out of it. Now, what that has to do with the history of feminism or the origins of feminism, I have no freaking idea, because that's not what we were talking about. That's not what the article was talking about. Now, the next thing she mentions is she said, I have a flawed idea about the origin of feminism. And she says the origin of feminism or suffragism, which they called it back then, goes back to the 1800s, which it does, and probably before, back into the 1700s under Queen Victoria in England. But that's neither here nor there. The feminist policies that I'm talking about date back to 1972. And it dates back to the beginning of Title IX, when feminism as a policy entered into the educational system and the workplace. Now, the quintessential book that I draw these conclusions from comes from the book More Than Title IX, which basically describes all the feminist policies that were put in place from 1968 to 1972, when it was implemented in law and actually put in motion in the educational system, all the way up to the 2000s. And she does a very good job of interviewing people and telling you step by step how this was done. Now, to pull a quote from the book, what she said was, with such broad coverage, Title IX and the legal requirements to ensure non-discrimination set the stage for dismantling and rebuilding a system that kept women and girls from their full potential and helped change the U.S. workplaces, economies, and families. It goes step by step and tells you exactly that they intended to re-socialize the male and female dynamic from the ground up by doing it in the educational system. Sports and athletics were only a part of it. The sexual harassment policies and workplace policies that you see came directly from the antecedents of Title IX, not from the suffragist movement. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole argument here. So, Felicia, if you want to go through that, you're welcome to go to the video I did on it. I think it was the third one on Feminized America. I did a whole thing on Title IX. So if you want to go argue that, go there and argue about it. But I'm not going to do the whole argument here. Now, most of the keys I did where I was highlighting the text from Amy Misra's article. Now, Felicia, you give a key and you says, key, a woman can do things a man can do because not every man is capable of doing what every man can do. That's feminist policy. And that's exactly what Amy is saying. She's saying that's what she was taught. She's taught the same thing you were taught. What does she say? We were told we could do anything a man can do for the longest time, and we believe that. Just like you do, Felicia. She believed it. But if you leave out the part when she says, and then we had babies. And that's what the whole article and whole argument is about. That's why I highlighted this. What did she say in the article? She said what babies do? So they remind you you're the exact same bag of motherhood hormones as countless women before you have been, except now that it's worse. It's worse because now you have an expectation of being just like a man. I'm going to quote Felicia here, since she doesn't want to come on and actually do a video and say what she means instead of typing in a box like a coward. I'm going to call her a coward because you're a coward. I didn't want to be attacked by MGTOWs. That's how I'm going to do a video. That's called being afraid and being a coward. She says her idea about feminism is about choices, not gender obligations and adherence to nature as mine seem to be. Now, I don't know how she gets that, what I seem to want, from me reading somebody else's words. I'm going to read what Amy said in her article. A mother's biological impulses drawing her to her child remain as strong as nature intended them to be. But our expectations from women are different now. That's why it's worse being a woman or being a mother. They are supposed to be men. Now, that's not what I prefer. That's not what I said. That's what she said. I just happen to agree with her because she's highlighting that is very true. Men can't escape their biology and neither can women. Amy said they are expected to be men, but they can't stop being women. And like I highlighted, she said, we honestly don't know what we want. Where have you heard men say that? Now, here's the last key from the article that I'm going to give you, and then we're going to get into the MGTOW stuff, Felicia. Amy says we can fight all we want, but we are not winning an argument against biology. Stardust has said that for years. I have said that in countless videos when I've talked about women. It is biology. It is what you're designed for. Men aren't going to escape it, and women aren't going to escape it. Now, for my keys on women and females and the feminine, go to my esoteric series I did about esoteric females. understanding females, and also the 5 things I would tell my son about women. Those are where the keys lies. I'm not going to go into it in this particular video. Okay, before we say bye, Felicia, we're going to get into what MGTOW actually is. But to understand what MGTOW actually is, you got to understand what the red pill is and what the manosphere is about. Now, the manosphere doesn't really give a damn about feminists. Nobody really cares. As feminists as people, feminists as a movement, nobody really cares. What we care about is the feminist policies that affect our lives. What we care about is the family courts that will hook you up for honors child support and honors alimony and take the majority of your wealth if you decide to get married and get divorced. What we care is the unfair application of domestic violence laws that can get you locked up and have you put into the legal system. What we care about is the unfair educational system that taps down boy nature and boys, puts them on Ritalin, puts them in special education, and gives boys a worse outcome in favor of women. That's what we care about as red pill men. Now, where MGTOW differs is the action that we take. PUAs and red pill tradcons try to use social engineering to basically what they call game women back into compliance. MRAs want to use the legal system and the political system to scale back unfair laws and make the legal system more fair to men. And MGTOWs kind of stand alone. MGTOWs actually want nothing to do with the system altogether. MGTOW is what I call a refuse-nick movement. It's not that we refuse to abide by the laws. It's not that we're trying to change the laws. We just refuse to put ourselves in position where the laws will apply to us. And the first 2 rules of MGTOW: don't get married and don't father any children by any Western woman. Because according to Western law, that binds you to that woman and you become her indentured servant for about 18 years. Now, in MGTOW circles, there are some angry MGTOWs out there that use misogynistic language. But unlike the PUAs that use a misogynistic language, MGTOWs aren't about trying to make women change. They're using a misogynistic language to basically warn away other MGTOWs from actually engaging with these women and falling into that trap where they become an indentured servant for 18 years. Or in some states, if you marry her for 10, you got her for life. Now, the other thing that MGTOW does, and Felicia, listen, this is key. This is key. What MGTOW is trying to do is undo the damage of the feminist education system. Since 1972, the feminist education system is supposed to slowly socialize boys to become beta males and socialize women into becoming alpha female. Now, if you understand that, you can go back and you can kind of decipher what Amy Misra was actually talking about. You can also go into the book More Than Title IX, where they discuss that, making boys and men into nurturers. And as she so quaintly put it, that strategy is doomed to failure. Because as I have stated, and other MGTOWs have stated, if you listen to the right ones, that is working cross-purpose to your biology. You got a couple 100,000 years of biology that adapt your body to the role that you were intended. This is a 40-year social experiment that the West has tried to take manhood out of the West. MGTOW is a reaction to it. Men are throwing up the Kool-Aid. And if you look at Amy's article, what she was talking about, she's throwing up the Kool-Aid too, because she's been sold the same bullshit that men have. But since I'm up against the clock, I'm going to have to close this one out. And maybe or maybe not, I'll do a part 2 with this, because there's a lot more Amy's, not Amy's, and a lot more Felicias out there. But until then, all I can say is, bye, Felicia.